one of the first big shows I ever did, they called me and the curator was like, oh, I have somebody interested in your work, but they want to know if you have anything without any words in it.
3, 2, 1, 0!
My name is Carlos Jesus Martinez Dominguez, and some other aliases I go by are Figs, Figaro, and Firo173. I'm a visual artist. I make visual things. I want my art to be accessible, and I think that's why I've always been drawn to graffiti, and the mixing of graffiti with like with kind of graphic content, poster art, things that are used for like propaganda, some kind of message-driven art. That piece right there, which I guess you can show a picture, right? Like right now it would come out maybe. What is called Confederate Dominicans. In 2013, a law was passed in the Dominican Republic. They revoked citizenship to Dominicans of Haitian descent. And I made a piece called Confederate Dominicans, where I was mixing along with what was happening in the United States for a very, very long time. But in 2013, we saw some things happen around the Confederate flag also. So I decided to merge the Confederate and the Dominican flag together and call it, it's a very long title. It's Confederate Dominicans. Dominicans celebrating the 1844 independence reminds me of Southerners romanticizing the Confederacy. My identity has so much to do with my community. I'm a Washington Heights artist. I'm a Harlem artist. I live in one of the thickest Dominican neighborhoods in the world, right? Being a Washington Heightser. And at the same time, I'm making Confederate Dominican flags in a neighborhood where everywhere you walk, there's this Dominican flag, and most people would want to smack me for making that flag. I deal in a world that's rallying around this Latinx identity. Meanwhile, I'm making art calling the term Latinx stupid. When I was very young, we called ourselves Spanish. Throughout time, it's been Hispanic also, which pretty much just means pertaining to Spain. It's the same thing going on. And now we found ourselves with Latino, Latina, or Latinx. And I have a problem with it still. It's still building off of this Eurocentric way of looking at ourselves. And when it comes, you know, to these terms, and I'm navigating this Latino world, I'm not necessarily popular there either. I don't know. I kind of like it though, because I like the conversations that revolve around that, and I like debate, and I think it keeps us sharp to keep debating these things. I told them I'm not a Latino, and they had, you know, if I remember correctly, they had said, oh, I'm sorry, what are you, like Indian? And I said, no, I'm Dominican and I'm Puerto Rican. And they kind of looked at me perplexed, like, well, isn't that a Latino? And I went into like a very raw version of kind of the ramble that I'm gonna give you tonight about why I don't call myself. I actually get more excited to like be invited to talk about these things, more so than I do make art about them. And I consider my ramblings a bit of an art form that kind of mixes a little bit of poetry with typography and debate. I was never good at school, but this curiosity that began with hip hop and graffiti is pretty much what brought me to where I'm at now. I try to be that art educator that embraces everything that was not embraced that led me to drop out of school. But I'll ask them a simple question. My prompt might be, guys, have you ever been to a museum before and seen something and said, what is that? And then they'll go, yes, always. And I go, exactly. Can we make something like that right now?
Thank you very much.